Okay. Good evening, everybody. Now, the chapter we are going to study is the first chapter, obviously. Okay, first chapter of the book, but for you it is the fifth chapter. And before starting the chapter, obviously, this is solid states. Solid states. Now, before starting this chapter, I want to tell you something that this chapter is very easy, very easy if you can visualize it. So this is more visualization, I will try. I know it's tough to visualize online, but at least if you visualize 70% of it also, then 30% I can do only after the lockdown gets over. Okay, so at least 70% of this you have to visualize. I will try my level best to make it visualized online. Whatever I will tell, you must visualize it, you must think it. Okay, then automatically the things will be clear. Okay, and once it is clear, you can do any question from the solid chapter. There is nothing. Okay, and the part which is deleted, I am not going to teach that, and that is not required also. That is not very important thing also, though it will be there in your notes also. Notes, because sometimes in the what is that called, competitive exams, if it comes also afterwards, it is required also. Then I am not deleting it from the notes. In the notes it will be there, but I will be telling you notes. I will give you today itself. Okay, after the class I will be giving you the notes, so you can study from there. And I am certainly recording the videos also, so you can watch the videos also. So first of all, what is solid? All of us know what is solid. Solid means where the particles, if I ask you about the solids, you know that where the particles are tightly packed. Okay, most tightly packed. That's the basic thing, and why something is solid. How can we say that this particular substance is solid? If it has got certain shapes and volumes, isn't it? Definite shapes and volumes. If it has got some metallic or non-metallic property, the solids can be metals or non-metals also. But there are so many other properties also of solid. And if we heat it, if we just heat it, it will convert into liquid and so on. So many things are there which will tell us, so many properties are there which can say us that this is solid. Okay. Solids are also called, so obviously there are three states, solid, liquid and gas. The liquid and gas together are also called fluids. They're also called fluids. I think I told you about this. They're called fluids because they can flow. What is flowing? All of you know. Okay, they can flow. The gas can flow, the liquid can flow. That is why they are called fluids. But the solids are called rigids. They are also known as rigids. Okay, why they are called rigids? Because they cannot flow, they can move. Now suppose if I just take a glass of water and just throw on the floor, what will happen? If I just throw the water on the floor, it will flow. It will flow means you can see the end of the water somewhere at some distance, but the water will start from here only. Okay, so it will flow. But if I just throw this pen, the whole pen will move from one place to the other place, right? So that is movement. Okay, and that is flowing. So what is happening to the solid? The solid is moving. And that is why this is called rigid. The solid is known as rigid. Okay, fine. Now, as I told you, we are concentrating on solids only. So this is basic idea which all of you know. Only I introduced one term, that is rigids. Okay, that much only is the new thing. Now, the solids can be classified in two types. One we call crystalline solid. Another one we call amorphous solid. Crystalline solid and amorphous solid. Okay. Now, what is crystalline solid? What is amorphous solid? What is crystalline solid? What is amorphous solid? Now, if we take a solid substance where certain particles, suppose this is the solid substance. This is a solid substance. Okay, solid substance I have taken. Obviously, it consists of certain particles. That particles can be ions. That particles can be molecules. That particles can be atoms. Whatever are the particles. Okay, that can be ion. Suppose sodium chloride solid. If I take, the particles are sodium positive and chloride negative. Right? That particle can be atoms. For example, suppose I had taken a piece of iron, which is a solid. Okay, So in iron, in that piece of iron or in that solid piece of iron, what are there? The iron atoms are there. So in that particular case, the particles are atoms. Okay. Or if I take a piece of ice, in case of ice, so what are there as the particles? The particles are nothing but the molecules. So it can be an atom, it can be an ion, it can be a molecule, whatever it is. But if the particles, this is a piece of the solid I had taken, and if the particles are arranged like this, obviously they has to be tightly packed. There is no doubt about that. But they are very, very uniformly arranged. Okay, throughout the solid substance, it is uniformly arranged. If it is uniformly arranged throughout the solid substance, then we call it crystalline solid. Okay, but if it is not arranged uniformly throughout the solid, if the solid is like this, okay, fine. Up to here it is fine, uniformly arranged. This is very uniformly arranged. This part is very uniformly arranged. But यहाँ पे suppose ऐसे है. Okay, मतलब कुछ दूसरा टाइप का है. Okay, means non-uniformity है. Okay, so if it is not uniformly arranged throughout the solid, it does not mean कि it is not at all uniformly arranged. It is uniformly arranged up to certain extent. But throughout the solid it is not uniformly arranged, then we call it amorphous solid. So hope you understood the difference between crystalline solid and amorphous solid. What is crystalline solid? Where the particles, constituent particles, now the constituent particles can be atoms, can be ions, can be molecules, whatever it is. The constituent particles, if the constituent particles are uniformly arranged throughout the solution, then we call it what? Then we call it the crystalline solid. But if it is non-uniformly or not uniformly arranged throughout the solution, that does not mean कि कहीं पे भी uniform नहीं है, कुछ जगह में at least uniform नहीं है, all through the solution, it is all throughout the solid particle, it is not uniformly arranged, then we call it amorphous solid. I hope it is very clear to you. Okay. Now, how the amorphous solids can be prepared? Actually, amorphous solids can be prepared from the crystalline solid. Let me just give an example, then you can understand this. The common example of the crystalline solid, sodium chloride and all are there, but I am not going to give that example. I am going to give the example of crystalline solid as quartz. All of you have heard about this quartz. Yes, all of you have heard about this. What is this? You might not be knowing, but all of you have heard about it. It is nothing but crystalline silicon dioxide. It is nothing but, silica industry. Silica industry means its IT sector completely depending on this quartz. Okay, that is nothing but what? Nothing but the crystalline silicon dioxide, SiO2. Okay, nothing else. And the example of amorphous solid, the one you know, that is what I am telling. The example of amorphous solid is glass. Glass is what? Glass is also silicon dioxide. That is why I chose this example. Both are silicon dioxide. Chemically, both are same. Chemically, there is no difference between quartz and glass. Absolutely no difference. This is SiO2. That is also SiO2. Both are SiO2. Okay, both are silicon dioxide. Now, how are they differing? How are they differing? Quartz, the silicon dioxide and the molecules which are arranged uniformly throughout the solid, and here it is not arranged uniformly throughout the solid. That is the difference. Okay. Now, how can we convert quartz into glass? Very simple. How can we convert a crystalline solid into amorphous solid? Okay. We can very easily convert the crystalline solid into amorphous solid. We have to take the crystalline solid. Suppose quartz we had taken, and we melted it. First step is that we have to melt it. So there is molten quartz in it. Okay. Then we have to solidify it very rapidly. Solidify it means we have to cool it, but cooling has to be done very rapidly. If we do the rapid solidification or rapid solidify, okay, then solidify, then it will convert into what? Then it will convert into glass. Okay, then it will convert into glass. So that is how a crystalline solid is converted into amorphous solid. How a crystalline solid is converted into amorphous solid? By first melting and followed by rapid cooling or fast cooling. Okay, if we do that, it is converted, the crystalline solid is converted into amorphous solid. Okay, now what else are the differences? I don't know whether you had done it or not in physics. I don't know, because class 12 you didn't go in the lab also. So class 11, I don't know, some of you might have done it also. Some might, ICC students might have done it in class 9, 10 also. That's a very simple example of refraction. Have you done it? Refraction? Refraction of the glass slab. I think you had done it, and if you didn't, you will certainly do it. A piece of paper is taken, a cardboard is there, on top of that a piece of paper is taken, and a glass slab is placed over here. The glass slab is given to you, a glass slab is given to you, okay? And we just measure the refraction, or rather I should say refractive index, by this experiment, okay? What we do is that we just put the pins over here, 2 pins over here, okay? So this is a straight line through which, we see the pin through here. So since it is coming through the glass, obviously the refraction will take place. So we are going to see it like this. Okay, we are going to see it from here, but we will see it at a straight line. It is actually there. When it remove the glass, we will see this. So what is the angle of reflection, angle of incidence, and what is the angle of refraction? We can very easily find out. Okay, I am not going in the detail of this, because that you are going to do. The complete experiment is simple experiment. Complete experiment you are going to do in physics. And obviously for that we are going to vary the angles also. Here suppose this angle is whatever, suppose it is 105 degree, then the next angle I will take is more than that, and so on, like that we have taken. Okay, so whatever angles are taken, we are just varying the angle, and we are taking the sine I. You know sine I, what is sine I? Sine of angle of incidence. And sine R, what is sine R? Sine of angle of refraction. Sine of angle of refraction. And that is what? That is called refractive index, right? That is called refractive index, you know this, which is known as mu. So we are finding, actually the experiment is finding out the refractive index of the glass. Okay, so what we are going to do, first of all, so I didn't say you that glass has to be placed like this or this or this, any way you can place the glass. Okay, then what you are going to do, we are going to measure the refractive index of it from any angle. If you perform the experiment perfectly, then you will see that refractive index value you are getting same, doesn't matter how you are keeping the glass, doesn't matter what angle you are taking. Okay, that's an important property of the amorphous solid, and you know glass is an amorphous solid. Okay, what is that? There are certain, now I am coming to the basic thing actually, what we need to know. There are certain physical properties, not all, certain physical properties, like refractive index, just give this example, like refractive index, which is same in all directions for a particular type of solid, which is same in all directions, means angle करो, angle vary करो, उसका मतलब side vary करो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, उसका refractive index will be always same. Okay, but if you try to do the same with a crystal, take a quartz here, take a quartz and try to do the same, you will find that the refractive index for one angle is 1, the other angle is other, refractive index for one side is 1, the other side is other. Okay, so those properties will vary in case of the crystalline solids, but in case of amorphous solids they are not varying. That is why the amorphous solids are also called, I'm introducing a term, isotropic solid. Tropic, not topic, not isotope. Okay, isotropic solids. Amorphous solids are called isotropic solids because certain properties like refractive index is remaining same, or which is not changing with the variation of angles or sides. Okay, but in case of crystalline solids, these properties are varying with the angle or the sides. Hence, the crystalline solids are also called anisotropic solids. So, hope these two terms you understood. It's very often it comes. Okay. First thing. Next, you see, how did I say what I say, that how the amorphous solid is prepared? We have to cool it. We have to melt it into liquid. melted into liquid, then we have to rapidly solidify it, right? Rapidly solidify it to produce the amorphous solid. Yes. Okay. That is why amorphous solids are also called, I am introducing another term. Amorphous solids are also called supercooled liquid. The amorphous solids are also called supercooled liquids. You understand the meaning of supercooled liquid? We converted it into liquid and then we are cooling supercool. Supercool means very fast cooling. We are doing it very fast and the amorphous solids are formed. That is why the amorphous solids are also known as what? Also known as supercooled liquids. Okay. One more difference between the amorphous solid and the crystalline solid. In the beginning of this chapter, first thing I told today is that the gas and liquids are flowing. Okay. But the solids cannot flow, they are moving. Okay. But amorphous solids, as they are supercooled liquids, they have a tendency to flow. But they flow, so glass is flowing, but flow very, very slowly. How can we say that it is flowing? How can we say that it is flowing? See, it's very simple. If you see the glass doors of the ancient buildings, okay, very old buildings, the glass doors or glass windows are there. If we observe it properly, if it does not flow, it should have been like this. But after years, obviously it does not happen in 1 year or 2 years. After years, okay, hundreds and hundreds of years, what we can observe very interestingly is that this part, the bottom part of the glass has become thicker. The bottom part of the glass door or glass window becomes thicker. Why? Because it is flowing down. It is flowing down and नीचे का हिस्सा मोटा हो रहा है. Okay? Did you get it? Okay? That is why these amorphous solids are also called pseudo-solids. These are also called, I have introduced so many terms. Okay? They are also called pseudo-solids. Pseudo means false. Okay? Pseudo means false. So they are also known as false solids. Okay? They are solids, but they are behaving as what? They are behaving as liquids in certain cases. So they are also known as pseudo-solids. I hope this basic part of amorphous solid and crystalline solid you understood. Okay, what did I say? I am just recapping it. First, the difference between the amorphous solid and the crystalline solid according to their structure. Okay, according to their structure. Okay, structural difference, all of you understood. Crystalline solid is uniformly arranged throughout the solid. Amorphous solid is not uniformly arranged throughout the solid. Okay. Then what did I say? How it is prepared? How crystalline solid is converted into amorphous solid? Crystalline solid is converted into amorphous solid by? Crystalline solid is converted into amorphous solid by supercooling. First melting and then supercooling. Yes. And that is why the amorphous solids are also known as supercooled liquids. Okay. Amorphous solids are also called pseudo-solids because it has a tendency to flow, but the flow is very slow. The nature of the flowing is very, very slow. How can you say that it is flowing? We can very easily observe this flowing where? In the ancient windows or the doors, glass doors or windows, where the bottom part of the glass door or window is little bit thicker than the top part. Okay, it indicates that it is flowing. That is one thing. Okay. And what I told, yes, the other one is that isotropic and anisotropic. What is isotropic? Isotropic is the amorphous solid. Amorphous solids are also called isotropic solid. Iso means constant. Okay, so amorphous solids are isotropic solids. Why isotropic? Because amorphous solid का कहीं भी angle ले लो, कहीं भी size ले लो, कुछ physical properties are remaining same. Which physical properties? The example is refractive index. Clear? But if we do the same thing with the crystalline solids, we are not going to see it same. We are going to find it out different. Yes, and that is why they are called what? They are called anisotropic solid. Okay, means not isotropic solid. Yes, our study of the amorphous solid ends here. Our study of amorphous solid ends here. बाकी जो चैप्टर हम लोग पढ़ेंगे उसमें ओनली क्रिस्टलाइन सॉलिड्स हम लोग पढ़ेंगे, ठीक है, बिकॉज दैट्स इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके, amorphous solids का स्टडी में कुछ है नहीं. ओके, so now we are going to study the crystalline solids. Crystalline solids, depending on the force of interaction, or you can say depending on the intermolecular force of interaction, or depending on the the nature of the particles that is present in the crystalline solids, they can be classified in different types. Crystalline solids, depending on the intermolecular force of interaction, or depending on the particles, they can be classified in different types. If I write down the names only, you can understand that. Okay, the first one is ionic solid. Tell me what is ionic solid. If I tell you what is ionic solid, all of you can tell me what is ionic solid. Here, the constituent particles present in the crystalline solids are ionic. The positive ion and the negative ions are present. For example, sodium chloride crystal. Just one example I am giving. Sodium chloride crystal. In sodium chloride crystal, sodium chloride is not present. What are present? The sodium positive is there and Cl negative is there. We will study that in detail. First you understand this. Okay. Sodium positive and chloride negative ions are there. They are constituted with the ions. That is why these particles are called ionic particles. And obviously, ionic solids, sorry. And what is the nature of the bonding? Obviously, the nature of the bonding is electrovalent bonding or electrostatic bonding. Okay, so that is why these are called, since they are constituted with ions, they are called ionic solids. Simple. Okay, the next one is covalent solid. Next one is covalent solid. Covalent solid. Now, what is covalent solid? Obviously, whenever I am talking solid, means I am talking of crystalline solids. Suppose diamond. Okay, diamond. Just a simple example I am taking. Diamond is made up of what? It's nothing but carbon. The carbons are covalently bonded. It has got a specific shape, right? Okay. Diamonds are covalent. This carbon and carbon are bonded by which type of bonding? It's bonded by the covalent bonding. That is why that particular solid is known as what? That particular solid is known as covalent bond solids. Okay. Where the nature of the bonding is what? The nature of the bonding is covalent. Simple. Nature of the bonding is covalent. The solid is known as, or the crystalline solid is known as covalent bonding solid. The third one. See, from the name, as I told, you can understand that. Third one is metallic solid. Okay. So metallic solid means a special type of bonding is there, that is called metallic bonding in the solid, and that is present only between the metal atoms. So take the example of any metal. Any metal. Okay, iron, copper, cobalt, whatever, nickel, gold, silver, whatever.